Hey, welcome back everyone. Thanks for joining me once again. I want to talk about making your house really energy efficient by doing a few things, including changing out some of the equipment, your air conditioning, your furnace, etc. And I have quite a few videos on the channel that talk about repairing your furnace, fixing your air conditioner, making your house cooler. I've done some recent videos on that as well. And then I continue to have problems with some of this old equipment and came across an opportunity to upgrade everything. And I'm going to talk about that today. I'm going to show you what we did in the house. This wasn't a DIY project, but it was more of a DIY investigation to come up with the solution. And so like I said, I'm going to show you what we did, the equipment that we switched to. But the key to all of this was we were having an issue with the air conditioning unit. We had a leak, and we were starting to continue to lose freon. And so since the unit was so old, probably the late 80s, it just didn't make sense to continue to try to put money into it. And our state was offering a big rebate program whereby if you make your house really energy efficient, they'll provide a significant rebate to discount the total package of everything that we replaced to make it very affordable. By the end of the video, I'm going to tell you what this whole thing cost. Also, what I'm going to do is share with you my recent experience with the changes so far. It's only been a month, but I'm going to come back and do a follow-up video after we get through one winter and one summer to let you know what my energy bills look like compared to the prior year. So right now, let's go and first head outside, look at the condenser, and then we're going to go down to the basement and check out the rest of the equipment. Okay, now it started to rain. Perfect. So this condenser, way bigger than what I had before, but it's a 16 SEER unit. The thing is also much quieter than what we had before too. The other one was like this high. This is a larger unit, but larger doesn't always mean better. In this situation though, it is better. Let's go downstairs, look at the coil, the furnace, the hot water heater. I want to take you through all of that. I just wanted to give you a shot of the Rheem condenser that was installed during this process. All right, we're in the basement. We've got a new Rheem furnace and coil and blower. The amazing thing about this is, since I mentioned blower, I wanted to talk about that. Much more powerful than what we had before. And despite having more power and having the air come out of the vents noticeably with much more greater force, it's actually quieter. So that part is the good news. So this is a 96% efficient Rheem gas furnace, and it's also direct vented. So no longer are we using the old flue for venting out the emissions. This is direct vented. So we've got this large PVC pipe, and I'll get into why we see three of them here, but one is an intake and the other is the outtake, bringing fresh air in and then bringing your waste air out. Okay. We also have the pump here for when you're running the air conditioning. You've got condensation coming off the coil. It's going to pump this out to the we have it running to the sump pump right now. And now we also have the hot water heater. So we've got again, a direct vented hot water heater. It noticeably so far it is recovering much faster than what we had before. And what we had before, it wasn't like it was a very, well, maybe in the old unit, maybe in the terms of hot water heaters it was. What we had here before was 14 years old. And again, not super old, but I'm noticing the recovery time is much faster with this 50-gallon. The only thing I'll say is with this direct vented unit, when the motor and the fan goes, you can hear it upstairs. Right above here is the family room, and you can hear the humming of the of this, and maybe it's because we've got the thing tied in to the joist here with the hanger. I put a piece of foam here between the vent pipe and also the water supply line. Thought maybe there was some vibration that was reverberating through the house here. So that's the only slight complaint I have with this so far. The other thing is it is electronic, more so than what we had before. So this is more high tech, which means you potentially could have issues with sensors and different things. And we already did have something occur, which was suddenly it wasn't heating, and there was a light flashing down here where you were getting a code, certain number of flashes. And really what we did to solve it was just unplugged the hot water heater, let it reset for 2 minutes, plug it back in, and it was back running again. So I'm gonna take you into the attic and show you the final part of this whole process before I do a wrap up and share with you what everything cost. So we're gonna go up to the attic right now. So now we're up in the attic, and this is where everything's really coming together, and how everything ties in and works super efficiently is when you upgrade your insulation, but also air seal all of the potential spots where you could have air leaking up from the living space below up into the attic. So around all the light fixtures, any place where wires will be coming up from along the edges of the house through the plates. You can see these boxes here where these are recessed lights. So they boxed them out, air sealed around them, and then blown in all of this insulation on top of the old insulation. You can see here some of the air sealing up against the chimney. This is what they did. A whole day up here just doing that. Again, a noticeable difference. Also, what I'm gonna check on is in the winter, when I would come up here in the winter, it'd be a little warm and humid up here, which meant that the warm and a little bit of humid air down from the living space was making its way up here. So I'll be extremely interested to see whether or not that changes. What you're looking at here is I wanted to maintain a little bit of a walkway, so we put insulation board down below the plywood just to make sure this was better insulated so I can at least get to the other side of the house. I didn't want to have this permanently closed off, so they did a good job of installing these here, air sealing. Okay, so got a little measurement out there, shows you an additional, I think it says 18 inches of insulation on top of what was already there. Okay, so this is, I'm going to do a video on air sealing your attic that we'll just spend a lot more time talking about, and also what you can do from down below to help air seal. That'll be an upcoming video. So there you have the attic insulation, and I'll say this too, which is before, the attic was not well insulated to begin with, and when we would have an extreme heat in the summer, 90 plus degrees, the poor insulation that was in the attic was such where you could actually feel the heat radiating down into the rooms below if you put your hand up there. And if you could imagine, your air conditioning unit now is fighting that. You've got your ceiling, which is essentially now a furnace, pushing heat down, and your air conditioning is coming out of the vents, and they're kind of combating each other. So this is going to be much more efficient. I can tell you that when this was done, we had some warm days, and very first day it was pretty warm out, and we didn't put the air on in the house, and the temperature didn't move for a few hours, whereas under normal conditions the temperature would have been rising in the house right away. And now what we have here is not a completely sealed envelope, but at least at the top, which is where most of the air escapes and then starts to pull in fresh air from the outside, or hot air or cold air, depending on the season. Um, it's that's not happening because of all the air sealing and all of the insulation that's been done to make it much more effective. So I'm not sure if you can hear this, but it is raining really hard outside, getting some thunder too. All right, so now what you've been waiting for are, what are the costs? Now, before we could come up with a final cost, there had to be a rebate amount determined by the state. And the way the state came up with that was they were going to see how much energy you were going to save by making these changes. So the first thing they did was they had the installer and put a blower on the front door, have everything shut, the windows and all that, and they could measure how leaky the house was, I guess. Maybe that's my way of putting it. Some of you that are in the business can probably correct me down in the comments. That'd be great. You could educate all of us on that. But there's a measurement as to how tight your house is, okay? And then from that, they could determine how much you could save once they seal your attic and they look at your energy bills and they factor everything in, and they can say, okay, here's how much energy this house can save if we move ahead with this project. And based on that savings, they came up with a rebate amount. And after they came up with that rebate amount, that rebate would get paid directly to the contractor, and it was disclosed to me what that rebate amount was. And my bottom line that I paid for everything that you just saw in the video was just under $13,000. So the way I looked at it, I felt like it was a great opportunity for me to jump on, because I'm estimating that I'm going to save about $1,000 a year in energy costs, okay? Plus, I've upgraded an air conditioning unit that was, I don't know, 30, 40 years old, of a furnace that was 18 years old, a hot water heater that was 14 years old, insulated my attic that was insulated in 1968, and it was crap insulation, so we'll be more comfortable and more reliable. I shouldn't have all of these things breaking down that I've had to do videos on over the last couple of years. So the only bad news is I probably won't be doing too many of these, repair videos for the furnace and the hot water heater and the air conditioning. At least I better not have to be, because I'm not expecting to have any issues, right? Anyhow, I hope that you'll stop back after I've had an opportunity to see what the savings are and watch my follow-up video to this that talks about how energy efficient it really was. And I'm not going to talk about dollars necessarily, because I think that when your energy prices go up, it doesn't give you a clear picture as to how much you saved. But just in gas, how much I use in gas before and after, for example, on the furnace or on the hot water heater, we can determine that, and I'll be sharing that information with you when I'm able to. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button. Appreciate you. Thanks again, and stop by next time.